They didn't arrive with armies. They came with ships full of goods, ledgers, and contracts. But over time, these traders became rulers, and the jewel of Asia was slowly wrapped in chains of control, commerce, and cruelty. This is the story of how the British took over India, a land rich in culture, wealth, and civilization, and turned it into a colony. Welcome to part 1 of our 2-part series, From Traders to Rulers. In the year 1600, Queen Elizabeth I granted a royal charter to a group of merchants, forming the British East India Company. Their goal was simple: trade with the wealthy kingdoms of the East. They first arrived in Surat, Gujarat, and slowly expanded their trading posts to Bombay, Madras, and Calcutta. At the time, the mighty Mughal Empire ruled India, and the British were just another group of foreign traders among many. But what they lacked in numbers, they made up for with cunning strategy, diplomacy, and patience. The 18th century was a time of change. The Mughal Empire was weakening. Local rulers, nawabs and kings, began fighting among themselves. The British saw opportunity. They began intervening in Indian politics, offering support to one ruler against another, and in return, demanding control over land and revenue. Slowly but surely, the East India Company evolved from a business to a political power, collecting taxes, training Indian soldiers called sepoys, and controlling large regions. But the real turning point came in 1757 at the Battle of Plassey. The British, led by Robert Clive, defeated Nawab Siraj-ud-Dawla, the ruler of Bengal, not through strength, but through treachery. Clive bribed the Nawab's generals to betray him. When the battle began, they stood still. The Nawab lost, and with him, Bengal, the richest province in India, was now under British control. With this single victory, the East India Company transformed from a trading firm into a colonial power. Once in control, the British began draining India's wealth. They imposed high taxes on farmers, forced cash crop cultivation, and destroyed local industries like textiles, once the pride of Bengal. India, which once accounted for over 20% of the world's economy, began to fall into poverty and famine. While Indians toiled, British officials grew rich, sending fortunes back home. India became the cow, and Britain the milker. As the exploitation deepened, so did the anger. Religious interference, social humiliation, and economic ruin sparked deep resentment among Indians, especially the sepoys in the British Army. These soldiers were forced to serve a foreign crown that disrespected their beliefs and paid them little. In 1857, it all erupted. But that is a story for part 2. The British didn't conquer India overnight. It was a slow capture of trust, trade, and territory. From merchants to monarchs, from ledgers to guns, this was the beginning of 2 centuries of foreign rule. In part 2, we'll cover the revolt of 1857, how the British Crown took over from the company,